Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. Super excited about today's video because it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and we're going to jump into it in just a second. I did want to take just a moment to wish all of you mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. I hope you are getting pampered and getting loved, and in my case, getting alone time. Okay, I also want to say that remember that we can define a mother any way we want. If you take care of people or pets or anything in your life that you love, you should celebrate yourself today. Okay, so the potentially new technique for stenciling will be up in just a second, but I wanted to talk to you about this Brea Reese watercolor cardstock that I picked up. I am not really liking it. So you know I'm always honest with you. And I find it to be super thin and really hard to work with watercolor, and it's classified as watercolor paper. So I'll talk more about that in a second, but I wanted to also tell you I'm using this Catherine Pooler Love Die and some rock, paper, scissors masking paper. Well, I call it masking paper, but it's actually called removable label sticker paper. And the removable part is extremely important. All of this stuff will be linked below, by the way, but I can't tell you enough great things about this paper, this masking paper. It is super duper affordable and you get a ton of it, so it's great. Now I ran the Catherine Pooler Love Die through my Sizzix switch die cutting machine, and I have the heart because it's a two-piece die, so the heart and out of the masking paper, and this is what I'm doing here. I've placed it on my cardstock. I thought, well, if this watercolor cardstock or paper is not very good with water because it warps really badly, is it going to be good for blending? An alternative, to use for blending, and it was okay. It wasn't great. Bristol Smooth is still my favorite for that, but I have it and I used it, and so we're still going to find a way to make a pretty card. I cut it down to an A2 size, and I'm going to take the center piece of that masking paper and I'm going to place it over. Now, this is the technique I wanted to share with you, is masking up your images and putting your stenciling over it. I'm pulling out my stencil binder. This one is from scrapbook.com. It's the plush mint green binder. And if the feel of your binders is important to you, this should get thrown to the top of your list because it feels like one of those plush blankets. Okay, that's probably not important. I'm going to place this down on my glass mat. Now this mat is magnetic, and I say that because I'm going to be able to use a little less adhesive to hold down my stencil. So I just use my magnets to hold it down, and I'm going to pull out this stripe stencil. Now when you are masking, whatever you mask and then either stamp on top of that mask, or in this case stencil, you are then moving your top image to the forefront of your picture, of your card. So you can see that stenciling is behind. It gives it sort of a dimensional look. And I've never really done that before, and when I started playing with it, different stencils, you'll see, I'll show you more, I really loved the look of it. I thought it gave another alternative or another way to use your stencils. Now the inside of that die, it spells love, and I've die cut that with some glitter cardstock, matching the base behind it to frame it, and then also the love on top of it. So that is how I'm going to finish off that card, and you'll see that in just a little bit. I'm using some Barely Art liquid glue to hold that down, but I wanted to put something heavy on it because it is glitter cardstock, and so I just wanted something to reinforce that. So I just placed a big old block on top. Now let's go to these two cards here. I have this stencil with the little paws and the stencil with the mums on it. So I didn't show you the stenciling portion, but it's the exact same way I did it for the first card with the stripes. But on these two cards, I went ahead and put back on that heart mask part, and I'm going to outline it. So on the little paw one, I put an outline of black. Here I'm using this amazing gold marker from scrapbook.com. It's one of my favorites, and you're going to see that really stark outline of that heart. This Happy Mother's Day die is from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to stack this up so I get a nice chunky sentiment for the top of my card, and then I cut that out with some ombre rainbow cardstock, which I cannot find anywhere. I think I got it from Stampin' Up! A long time ago. So I'm going to place that on the top. Now I have this really great chunky kind of sentiment. I love this card. I'm going to round the corners. I'm going to place down my Happy Mother's Day card because this is going to be a friend of mine who is a fur baby mom. And so I'm hoping that brings some joy to her. Now for this card right here, or for this sentiment here, I had it in white, so I'm going to customize it, and I'm going to use the same colors I used on the Mums card. And so I'm going to be using some, I think that's spice marmalade and mustard seed. And then I'm going to pull out a technique that is an oldie but a goodie. I think it was like one of the first techniques I used when I was making cards way back when. And that was to take a sponge dauber with a darker color ink and just kind of flick the color on the outside or the sides of your sentiment. And what that's going to do is going to outline it. It's going to kind of make it pop off of the cardstock. And in this case, I think it does a good job because my background with the Mums is just the yellow and orange, and the brown kind of outlines it. So here you can see, I'm just going to lay that down flat. Happy Mother's Day. Now I am going to add some embellishments to these cards. You'll see those in the final pictures. Some jewels, some pops of color, enamel dots, just to kind of give them a little more oomph. But that is the technique I wanted to share with you today to kind of give your stencils a little bit more life, give it another opportunity for you to use them in a different way. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope it inspired you. I will list everything I used in the description box below. I also, drumroll please, entered into the 21st century and have finally set up an email list. So the reason that I wanted to do that for so long was because it just gives me an opportunity to communicate with you faster. I get a lot of intel on sales, deals, tips, tricks, hacks, and I just want to be able to share that with you. So if you would like to sign up for my newsletter, I'm giving you a free download. You can check that out in the description box below. You can print it out. You can practice your coloring. It'll just be a grand old time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you in the comments down below and in the next video. Bye-bye.